Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about the Call of Duty World War II PC Open Beta. Now that is a lot to say. So if you guys don't know, PC does not have a really liking for Call of Duty games. They have a very bad rap on the PC community, and for good reason. Tons of the PC games have terrible performance, FPS locks, non-changeable FOV, bad payment models as well, with pay-to-win loot boxes and season passes still and stuff like that. And so it makes sense why the PC community doesn't really like Call of Duty. But about a year ago, I was feeling the itch to just play a mindless, arcade shooter with progression, just grind out weapon skins and stuff like that. And so I ended up looking at a bunch of different CODs, and I ended up getting Black Ops 3. And during the summer, I actually played it a decent amount. I think I have like, I don't know, 105 hours in the game. So not too much, but I played it a, decent amount. I got my fair share of fun out of it. And the one thing it made me want was to kind of be excited for the next Call of Duty, sort of. And then it got announced to be World War II, and I was pretty hyped, except I was scared because the most recent Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare, had the 91 FPS lock. So for me, when I have a 144 Hz monitor, I can't get the frames I normally would get, or at least it wouldn't show me them because locked at 91 FPS. And so the game looks choppy to me. The graphics looked awful. Then there was all these variants and stuff, and it was all just it was pretty bad. And so, within reason, I was pretty skeptical, along with most of the PC community, about the COD World War II. And I kept hearing all of the developers, especially like Michael Condrey, how do you pronounce his last name, be like, "Oh no, don't worry, we're taking care of the PC port this time." And problem is they've said that in the past, and they're not always right about that. They always lie. And then they announced the open beta, which is very, very big because not only was it like on consoles, it was the closed beta. So if you pre-ordered, then you got into the beta. This was open beta. This was whoever wants to play it, come play our game. And they announced all the details with it. FPS cap of 250. So that's not even really an FPS cap because at the 250 point, you don't really need more than that. I mean, it could be helpful, but 250 is a decent, fine place to cap FPS. Adjustable FOV, which wasn't like fully as good as other FOV sliders, but still there. All this other stuff, and so I was very hyped. So the first day it came out, played it like literally like 5 minutes after it unlocked a day early. So played 5 minutes after that. And originally, because I normally turn my game settings low everything because I want to be able to get 144 FPS while also recording in OBS. And I was getting around like 100 while recording, and I was like, oh god, this is pretty spooky, especially in Black Ops 3 when I can, get medium everything 144 FPS. And then I downloaded the new NVIDIA drivers because I remember that they had been talking about that. And now I can get like 200 FPS while recording low everything, which means I probably actually could turn some things up to medium because all that matters for me is I have at least 144 FPS. And then once I have that, that's when I can start worrying about graphics for me personally. But the game surprised me. The game definitely surprised me. The game ran smooth once I did the NVIDIA driver. There wasn't really that many crashes. I mean, it's a beta, so I understand, a couple crashes and stuff like that. A lot of people complaining about the sound design. I mean, I think it's not as bad as, or it's not as good as Battlefield, Battlefield 1 sound design. But I think it's definitely decent. I really actually like the hit marker sounds and the kill sounds. They seem satisfying to me. They do kind of feel a little arcadey, but that's why you're playing Call of Duty, because it's fun, good old arcade shooter. And that's just it's fine. And the gameplay itself was very, very fun. Now the problem is on the beta there were only 4 maps in the beta. Obviously there's going to be more than 4 maps in the game, but all 4 maps were very closed in and like close quarter combat. Like one was a trench map, which is actually my favorite map in the entire beta so far. Really like it, and it is super. I mean, that's like the closest quarter you can really get. But all the other ones, they either were super close or like close to medium range, and we didn't really have like long range type of maps. And that's personally, like in Black Ops 3, that's mainly what I played. I played a bunch of the snipers. I would snipe, and then I would unlock the attachment that could take off the sight, and it would just be a red dot sight for on a sniper. It's really fun. But I mainly sniped in Black Ops 3 along with a couple other things. And I couldn't really do that in this beta because of the just map design of the 4 maps. Now, I like 3 of the 4 map designs. If you guys have played the beta and you know the map names, there's a map called Gibraltar that the map is... It's like, if you spawn on one side, there's so many easy ways to, like, flank the opponent and just, you know, kind of stay in their spawn and be flanking them. But the other spawn, it's so hard to even get to the battlefield, let alone flank the opponent, and especially in objective game modes, that can be really annoying sometimes. But overall, I was very impressed with the beta, and I was pretty much utilizing this beta to be like, hey, am I gonna buy this game or not? Is this the game that was hoping it was going to be? And to me personally, I do have a decent amount of complaints with it, but it is extremely fun with me. A couple of the complaints I have is they did try something new, so I'm not mad at them necessarily, but they got rid of the pick 10 system, or pick 13 system, whatever game you're playing, where you would have a certain amount of points and you could do whatever with your class you wanted to. So say you don't want any grenades, take away that grenade and get an extra perk for yourself, or get an extra attachment on your primary gun. Well, now there's the 5 divisions that all like specialize in certain things, and you level up like the division perks themselves. And so say you're playing like the Mountain Division, I think that's the sniper people. Eventually, you'll have 4, because the 5th level just unlocks a special sniper rifle. You'll unlock 4 perks that when you're playing as that division, you get those perks. So that it's like move silently, not be found by UAVs and stuff like that. And so the perks are kind of built into the divisions, and then for each class you can also pick like a kind of other perk. So there's like Scavenger, the equivalent of Scavenger, I think it's called like Forager or Foraging or something like that, and a couple things like that. But it definitely takes away a lot of the customization, because sometimes I'd be like, hey, I don't really need these perks, I can do this. But on the other hand, it makes you feel a little bit more free, ironically, because in Black Ops 3, there was a perk called, I can't remember what it was called, but it was called, it pretty much was if you walked near someone like that was out of your field of view, it would kind of ping on your radar, right, like very relevant, say someone's right behind you, and it was really, really useful, and I used it on literally every class I had. But that meant, say there's 10 points to choose from, every class now I can only have 9 points. And a lot of the times you'd be like, oh, but I think I want this perk, not this reflex sight, and stuff like that. But now it's like, hey, okay, well, I'm not getting punished for using attachments on my primary, or I'm not punished for taking this perk, and so you're not getting punished, but it does definitely feel a little bit less, you can't personalize your class as much. You can't make it exactly what you want. And one side effect of that is everyone is forced to have a grenade, because a lot of the times most people didn't use grenades in Black Ops 3. In my experience, either they used like bouncing, like the equivalent of like a mine or a C4. They didn't use grenades. Here, everyone is forced to take a grenade or equipment of some kind. And the grenade, as far as I can tell, I've tried all 6 of the equipments or grenades that are in the beta so far, and the grenade still seems the best. Especially in objective mode. So there is a ton of grenade spam, especially since you're getting a new grenade every time you die. And it kind of feels like Modern Warfare 2, like all the noob, there's a rocket launcher that I don't see too relevant in the game, because you have to actually take a perk to get the rocket launcher as your secondary. So I don't see too much of that, but I see there is a ton of grenade spam. So I don't really know how they're gonna fix that. But that's definitely one of the things. Another complaint I have with the game is the kill streaks are awful, honestly. Like, I think the biggest kill streak you can get is paratroopers, and I've gotten like around 10 times. It's like a 12 or 13 kill streak. Obviously a little less if you're playing objective game modes. But it's like 12 to 13 kills, and it paratroops in like a bunch of these AI players. And it's really, really, like, the concept is cool. You have like these 30 AI players on the map that are now playing and capping objectives and stuff like that, except I normally get like 3 kills total with all of them, because they're not that great. Like, I really want like a really powerful, beefy kill streak like attack dogs. I really hope they add that. Like, I think they're gonna definitely miss an opportunity if they don't add attack dogs to the game. all the other kill streaks just seem very, very, very lackluster compared to like Black Ops 3, where I was getting these extremely powerful kill streaks. You know, the final one I did, like Raps, which was like, I don't know, a 2022 kill streak, it just dropped like 70 tires on the map, like kind of like think of Junkrat tires, except they were AI controlled, and they would just home on enemies and blow up when they touched them, and I would end up getting like 20 kills with that. And it was just super fun. But there's not any super powerful or even like semi-powerful smaller kill streaks either. I think the UAV actually feels weaker in than the previous games. The one thing is though, is most of the time people aren't going to have stingers. Like I always ran a stinger in or the stinger equivalent in Black Ops 3, and I would just instantly shoot down enemy UAVs. The UAVs and stuff fly a little lower to the ground in this game, so they can be shot down by like, you know, 2.5 rounds of a magazine of like an assault rifle, but no one's really doing that because that takes more time than just, hey, I'm going to lock on with this stinger, fire, and now I'm back into the game. So I feel like UAVs definitely last a little bit longer. But, so overall though, the game really impressed me. They're already talking about balance changes, like they're nerfing all SMGs, they're nerfing this one particular assault rifle, like the MG44 or something like that. Things that I definitely agree with. And the game ran fine for me, and so the game itself was fun for me because what I'm looking for in the game is there. But the thing is I understand why some people don't like the game or why some people have this hate towards the game, but if you look at the reviews for the open beta on the Steam store, it's actually ridiculous. So many people are just like circle jerking about the fact that it's a new COD on PC, and so many of the negative reviews are just jumping on that let's hate Call of Duty bandwagon. You know, there's some like actual reasonable like negative reviews, like, hey, I actually can't run this game, like, you know, I have a 1080 and I've downloaded all the drivers and I still can't run this game past 40 FPS. That is a legitimate negative criticism. People saying like, oh, you know, well, the time to kill feels too short for my liking. You know, some things like that. That's a legitimate criticism. But I see people being like, oh, same old, like all other Call of Duty games. And I mean, that's kind of a criticism, but it's like, it's not really, it's Call of Duty. Like, people don't really complain when Battlefield 4 came out because it was close to Battlefield 3. Like, it's going to be the same type of game. It's in the same series. And the thing is I feel like every time they do make a change in Call of Duty, people end up hating it, and then they proceed to tell them, no, we don't want change. Go back to the roots. You know, it's happened with like the jetpacks. It's happening with the divisions now. People are like, why don't you just do the normal class? But then they constantly keep saying Call of Duty needs to change. And I'm not trying to be like a super COD defender. There are some very glaring issues with this game. But overall, for me, it is, at least as far as the open beta goes, it has been very fun experience for me. I've had some friends, we've all been playing it together, playing domination and trying to like work together and stuff like that, talking on you know, Discord and stuff like that, and it's really fun for me. And most likely I will be picking up at least the normal version when it comes out. Now, does that mean you would like it? Does that mean, you know, overall it's going to be a good game? I don't know. It pretty much depends on, of course, what you want. Do you like this type of game? Do you just like mindlessly running around and shooting without having to think too much? Then this, yeah, is your game. If you really hate that kind of stuff and you need a ton of strategy, then this might not be your game. I mean, I've played with, like, in Discord, you know, we had like 4 people playing domination, and we're all like, okay, I'm going to go sneak around and take B, and this person's like, oh yeah, okay, here, I'll sneak over to B with you. You know, there's that stuff. But overall, let's just call it what it is. It's just a mindless arcade shooter that has a bunch of progression. And I like grinding for weapon skins and stuff like that. And zombies as well is going to be in the full game, and couldn't really test that in the open beta because it wasn't there. Also campaign. I don't really play campaigns COD though. I play it for multiplayer and zombies. But overall, from my perspective, I know this isn't everyone's perspective, from my perspective, the PC port of World War II, COD World War II, is good. I think it could be a lot better. I think there's a lot of glaring issues with the game, but overall, I think it's good enough for me to spend my money on. Now, just because you might not want to spend your money on it doesn't mean that you're wrong and I'm right, or I'm right and you're wrong. Or actually, I just said the same thing twice. Reverse it. You know, you're right and I'm wrong. It just means that personally isn't worth the money to you. To me, I think it is. And so, in my personal opinion, Call of Duty World War II is a decent port that will be fun enough for me to buy and play a little bit at the very least. But yeah, and that's just kind of my opinion. Obviously, you can have yours. I know I probably don't have the same opinion as most other people. So if you've played the beta, let me know in the comments down below. Did you guys like it? Did you guys run into any issues? Was it lagging? You know, was the performance okay, or did you guys like it? Was it, you know, running okay? I'd love to hear, you know, have conversations with you guys. But that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content and news. And like always, guys, see you next time.